you think, Alex, if we're actually healthy, because again, Pat mentioned the changes that might come is just Tyler needs to work on his nutrition and lifting, and just Jimmy might need to work with our internal trainers or whatever. Um, do you think that's going to be enough, like just being available and being healthy to help us win a championship? Because we know offensively, we're the 21st rated team. Bam and Jimmy are not
Mentioned it so many times.
right. They're not the most seamless duo. They're not Murray and Jokic. They're not like the best combination of players. So even offensively, when we had those little windows where everybody was healthy, we still like stunk offensively. Like we were still bottom three in scoring. So do you think being healthy is enough if we go in with the same roster? Because I'm thinking if we do try to trade Tyler Hero hypothetically, I would be intrigued getting two guys that make that 15 million for Tyler. He makes around 30 million next year. Getting like a KCP who makes 15, like a Bruce Brown who can come for 15. Those little changes kind of help the Denver Nuggets. They have a two-star system, and then they have really good pieces like Aaron Gordon, who tried to be a number one on Orlando, obviously was not the guy. Now he's the third, fourth guy playing a great role, and he's one of the best, three or fours in the NBA in his role. So that's, I guess, two-part question. Do you think if we're healthy offensively, we could be good enough to contend and compete and actually win a championship? Or would you rather go the route of trying to trade like a Tyler Hero to get more functional, athletic, skillful players like with more size?
I'm not against it, to be honest. Again, it's got to be the right deal. But like, if we're just to have that one as a template, go back to Dorian Finney-Smith and Cam Johnson one, I can be talked into it. Cam Johnson has also had his fair share of availability issues, but I do understand the appeal where it's like that's somebody who would fit right in, as a movement shooter. I do think it's a little tough trading Tyler and not getting back somebody who you consider to be like a very nice offensive player in return, at least, because of how anemic their offense already is. I do get the thinking of just kind of replacing his contract with two smaller ones and, making it a little bit more versatile, just two guys who might fit in nicely and just kind of, essentially not taking an L on the Tyler Hero experience because he was a great pick at 13 or 14, whatever he was. He's still a good player. I'm not nearly as down on him as others are. I don't think of him as like a star foundational piece. I just think of him as a good player. And I think he got put into a really unfair spot, if I'm being honest, as far as like, at the end of it all, he came back and was instantly thrust into like the number one option against the Boston Celtics when we all know he's not that guy. Like he's supposed to be a supplementary piece for Jimmy. And I spent so much of the season on 5 on the floor talking about like, the theory of having Tyler and Terry in the mix, as well as Hawkins and Jovic to a lesser degree, and like other essentially guys who can make plays, and having that around Jimmy, who was aging a little bit, so he wouldn't have to do as much of it. We didn't really get to see that much of it. Not that it was amazing when they all played or anything like that. Duncan had his improvement. Like I felt like they had more in theory individually with their shot creation. And I wanted to see how it could all play out if you just shorten the rotation, play your 8-9 best guys, and they were all healthy. I don't think that was going to win the championship, if I'm being honest, but I do think they could have, put up a real fight against Boston. And then you see how the rest of the East is playing out. Like Boston, the freaking Red Sea has been parted for them, man. Like they're going to be there. They're going to be in the finals most likely because they're playing against playing a bunch of teams that are just completely depleted right now. Not to hate on them, like they're a great team. They were probably the, most likely to make it to the finals anyways, but they're getting there with not too much resistance. It happens every year, right? People get injured, but man, it's just like the East is absolutely depleted right now. And, I come back to that and, I wouldn't mind trading Tyler. I'm just not in a rush to trade him unless it's for the right deal. And again, I think their MO is still, what happens to Donovan, what happens with another star. And, even like, I wonder if they check in on a guy like Brandon Ingram. Not that, that's been talked about or anything, or that it's a perfect fit, but hey, I think Ingram is probably a better player than Tyler Hero. And he wouldn't be guarded as the number one option here like he was when Zion was out. So kind of some parallels there as far as like being put into an unfair situation because he was supposed to be the number 2 for Zion and he ended up having to be the number 1. But whatever, like I think I'm open to all these things. And I feel like there was another part there that I forgot to answer. I'm sorry.
I think you did. I think we're good.
Okay. Okay. I felt like I was going to go somewhere else, and then I just lost my train of thought.
You killed it.
I was just rambling.
No, we love it. Thank you so much, Steve, for all the insightful information. Really appreciate you hopping on the show.